bottle tank. Look up here, I got milk in his hair. Look. Look, there it is. All gone. Good boy. Alright, want to take this blanket off?
You chugged the beer and
Take the belly one off. There's no more left.
you chugged the beer. I'm going to go take a nap for the rest of us.
Take it out. Got it? I'm sorry, buddy. Blanket. Hey Pheasant Lane fam, I hope you're doing well. My name's Robert and this is Pheasant Lane Farm. And to be 100% honest with you, I wasn't sure how to do this video or if I was even going to do it at all. But I've been getting some emails. People have been wondering what happened. Did our mare ever have her foal? And yeah, she did. And it's basically been a nightmare ever since. So I guess we'll just get into it. If you've watched our channel for any length of time, we had quite a few videos on there talking about how my mom's mare Peaches was expecting a foal. I think one of the last videos I did, I was standing over here on the other side of the barn to my right. We have a 12 by 20 or 22 foaling stall, and Peaches was ready to have that baby. Well, behind me you see here the little instigator with his uncle next door. That is the product of that foaling. And just let me say, it's been a disaster. So let's get into it. As you can see, if you know anything about horses, there's a couple red flags already. Number one, he is in his own stall by himself. And number two, I've been bottle feeding him. So, real quick, you can do everything right. You can feed all the right feeds. You can have all the right vet checks and vet appointments and ultrasounds. And you can do everything perfect and be on track to have a healthy foal and a healthy mom. And sometimes Mother Nature just kind of steps in and things go haywire. And that's exactly what happened. So, Apollo was born on February 14th, which is Valentine's Day, about 8:20 in the morning. Kiddo and I have been staying out in the barn. A couple nights we have a heated tack room and we rigged it up. That way if we heard her going to labor, we'd be out here. She was a first-time mom. And we had stayed out in the barn a couple nights prior. She was due anytime in that window. And I got up on Valentine's Day, did the chores. Everything looked fine. I checked underneath of her. She wasn't bagging up or anything. She was just standing there eating her hair, or eating her hay, I should say. Kiddo and I went in the house, got Kiddo ready for school, ran her down to the bus. So, 35, 40 minutes later, I walked in the barn to grab something over here and go do the rest of the livestock chores on the other side of the wall. And I walked by. This foaling stall has two gates. It's actually two stalls without the middle divider like you see there. And Peaches was just standing in the corner eating, and I thought, man, will you drop that baby? And out of the corner of my eye, I saw blood on her back legs. So I took a step back, I looked at her, didn't seem right. She looked a lot skinnier than what she had been. I walked 10 more feet, and on the opposite end of the stall, there was a foal laying on the ground with still half the sack on it. Luckily, its front legs and head were out of the sack. And Peaches just standing on the other end of the stall eating, and which is not uncommon for a first-time mom. They really don't know what's going on. And it was pretty cold that morning. So I went in there, got the bag off of him, ended up being a little stud colt, a little boy. And, called my mom, said, get out here. Peaches dropped that baby. Go in the tack room. We had blankets and towels and everything ready in case it was a difficult labor experience. Get in there, get him dried off. Luckily we had him bedded down with, over a foot of fresh straw. Got him dried out. And everything seemed pretty normal at first. And called the vet. They like to know when a foal drops, they can get out here and do a blood test called an IgG. And what that blood test does, it's usually the following day after a foal is born, will tell how much of the mom's colostrum that foal got. But I guess we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. So Peaches just wouldn't drop milk. No colostrum, no milk. Her udders, her bag wasn't bagging up at all. So that was kind of our first clue that something just wasn't going right. You have a couple critical hours to get that colostrum into that foal. Some say up to 12 hours. Some say it's got to be in there in the first 3 to 4 hours. Nonetheless, she didn't make any colostrum. She didn't make any milk. So ran and got some emergency colostrum. Got him to drink most of that bag down throughout that day. The next day, switched him to a formula. You can give the mares a shot. A little bit of oxytocin will sometimes release that milk, and it didn't happen, didn't do anything. So, all right, first problem, we're gonna have a bottle baby. It's not a big deal. It might take her a couple days, maybe she'll drop milk. And just wasn't working. The harder he tried to nurse, obviously she was in a lot of pain. She started getting a little rough with him. And, I was like, you know what? Just kept trying. We're bottle feeding him, but trying to get him to nurse, and there's just nothing to nurse off of. So it's not the mom's fault. It's not the mare's fault. It's just Mother Nature, So the vet came out the following day, took that IgG blood test, which again shows the colostrum levels. And it was like the lab didn't get back with him. I was calling him and bugging him, and just the timelines didn't work out, so that was kind of big problem number 2. If they don't get that colostrum, the earlier the better. Even though he got colostrum, he didn't get horse colostrum. It's all derived from a cow protein. So that was kind of like uh-oh moment number 2. So wait a few days. Peaches started not feeling well. I think she had a little bit of an infection. Got her on some antibiotics, got her on some painkillers. And she sprung back, everything was fine. Still no milk. The vet calls my vet and says, hey, we have a problem. And I go, what's that? And they go, his IgG score, there's been a lot of information in and out of my head the last 3 weeks, was, hey, his IgG is less than half of what it should be. We contacted another vet that specializes a little more in equine. He has an appointment this afternoon. He has to be there and have a plasma infusion is his only hope of survival. I said, okay. So Apollo's currently 18 days old. He'll be 2 weeks this coming Tuesday, or 3 weeks, I should say. 3 weeks this coming Tuesday. So change some plans around, load him in the trailer, run him over there. They say, it's no problem. It's kind of common. He didn't get his colostrum. We're going to give him mare horse antibodies. And I know sometimes I go a little too depth in the descriptive words, but there's a lot of people that watch these videos that aren't horse people, aren't country people, aren't livestock people. So I just want to make sure everybody has a pretty good understanding of what's going on. So take him to the vet. They tranquilize him. They shave his neck. They have a bag which is 750 milliliters, which is like the size of a bottle of alcohol, or I believe wine also, to kind of give you an idea. And what that bag is that's plasma from a donor horse, and that's going to push the good antibodies in him because he doesn't create his own antibodies until he's about 4 months old. So basically just immune deficient. So I'm standing there, I watch him prep him, I'm talking to the vet. I kind of know one of the kids that's a vet tech over there. And I go, I'm just gonna go sit in the truck. My mom was there, my dad was there, kiddo was there, and a little while later, I go in to check on him, and there's 5 or 6 people working on him. He's got space blankets and blankets on him a foot thick, and they said, we lost him and we got him back. And I go, what exactly does that mean? And they said, when we started pushing the plasma, his body went into shock and basically shut down. So once they started pumping horse antibodies into him, his antibodies that he did have started fighting those antibodies, and it was just a fiasco. So they had to do life-saving measures, shoot him with some life-saving drugs. They ended up bringing him back. And I had a discussion with the veterinarian, and she goes, here's the deal, he's got a 20% chance to live. She goes, we have to try and push the rest of this plasma infusion into him. He only had like 20 drops and went into shock. And so there's a whole, it looks like a gallon Ziploc bag almost, that they had to pump into him. So I go, you do what you have to do. I go, what are my options? She goes, well, we have one type of plasma. OSU, Ohio State University, has a world-class vet college. She said they might have different types of plasmas that they can kind of cater to his needs. Well, each bag of plasma is $800 to $900. They wanted him to get it every 4 to 6 hours and still only gave him a 40% chance. She said they could have him up to 4 days. So thinking in my head, this foal means a lot to us. It's kiddo's first foal. She was there for the whole experience. All the vet check visits prior, and he means a lot to us, but at the same time, I'm a retired police officer who's back in college and someone else is paying for it. I don't have, it could have been $10,000 to $20,000 easy. They quoted me $3,000, $3,000 to $6,000 just to bring him that first day. And at the end of the day, he still would have had a 20% chance of surviving. So luckily, he was able to take the rest of the plasma. We got him to wake up okay. We brought him home. This was on a Monday. They said, hey, if he makes it till Friday, his chances of survival increase exponentially. But don't let him get an infection. Check his temperature 2-3 times a day. They had given him some antibiotics to fight an infection he did have, which is a SAA blood test they did. His numbers came back 3 times higher of what they should have been, which shows that he already had some type of infection. So it wasn't looking good. Brought him home, nursed him back to health. He did good that day, that night. Peaches was doing better. She was in the stall next to him, and you could tell she wanted to be a good mom. She would pick hay up from her stall and lean over. We left the walls short for the time being. She'd lean over the short wall and she was dropping hay on him, and she was nuzzling him and still licking him. And so I was like, all right, we got to keep him alive for a week, till 5 days till Friday, and then I think we're out of the danger zone. The vet was actually coming the next day to look at Peaches. I was going to take her when I took this little guy, and she just wasn't feeling well enough. I couldn't even get her in the trailer. She'd get her 2 front legs in and nothing else. So I go, all right, vet's coming tomorrow. This guy's good. Saying our prayers. Things are going to turn out okay. I came out at 2:30 in the morning, like 11. Came out at 11 at night, gave him a bottle. Came out 2:30 in the morning, gave him a bottle. Peaches was doing fine. And I was like, all right, things are doing well. Things are doing well. Came out at 7:30 in the morning to do chores, and his mom had passed away in the stall next to him. So I have no idea what's going on, what happened. There's no need to. They do a version of an autopsy on animals. It wouldn't solve anything for us, so what's the point, Luckily, I had my dad come over. We got Peaches out to her favorite spot on the property, and able to give her a nice final resting place, I should say. So I felt horrible because this wasn't our mare. This was my mom's mare. My family has been in the horse breeding since the 1950s or maybe even before. My mom and dad bred mules and horses when I was younger. Then they got divorced. So there's been like a 20-year period where we haven't bred anything. And my mom said in all the years that she can remember, they had one issue. The mom just didn't want the foal and got a little rough with it. But you separate them, you bottle feed them. That's life. Never lost a mare. So all the excitement we had for having a new barn and working so hard to build everything we have here basically from scratch after my accident at work. And this was just like a a big kick in the face. But as you can see, he just had a bottle. He's doing well. He is your typical child. He is into everything. The vet said, he still has to learn to be a horse. He was born in this barn with these two minis. So we took a wall partition down so he can stick his head over. His uncle can stick his head over. Uncle, they're not blood related, but they said, let him get nipped at, let him nip at them. He needs to learn the horse language. He needs to learn respect. A lot of times bottle babies, bottle foals, they don't have that horse interaction. So that's important. So if you've ever seen that movie Secondhand Lions, where the little kid goes to live with his two older grumpy great uncles or whatever it is, that's basically been this. So he has been spending some time with his Uncle Roller there. And then over in this stall over here is the grumpier Uncle Rascal, which you can see his butt there. But it's been some modifications. It's been a whirlwind, to be honest with you. I think that bottle you guys just saw me give him, if my math is correct, that was his 99th bottle, and he's not even 3 weeks old. So it has been an emotional toll, physical, a mental toll. I'm in college, I'm still trying to pull straight A's, so going to class 5 times a week, and then still making sure I'm here to give him his bottles, staying up all hours of the night, catching up on homework. For a while, I was staying up till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning doing homework, come out here, give him a bottle, go back in the house around 3:30, sleep till kiddo gets up, and then that was the start of my day. So it was pretty wild. At one point, between sleeping out here in the barn, sleeping on the couch in the house, sleeping in my office in the house on the futon. My wife is one of those people where I didn't want to get up 2-3 times a night. Once she wakes up, she doesn't go back to bed. She has her own stuff to deal with, her own day job. So at one point, I think it was 3 weeks, I didn't sleep in my own bed, but still staying on my own farm. So that's just what you have to do. So it has been, like I said, it's just been exhausting. I'm just tired. This is my spring break week, and people are like, what are you doing for spring break? And it's like, I hope I can just take a nap. I told my wife, I go, can I get a hall pass just one day? Can I just stay on the couch and just sleep all day and binge out on TV? I very rarely watch TV, but I'm just mentally, physically exhausted. My mom had been staying out here in the barn on nights I didn't, to make sure he was getting fed, make sure he was okay, and nursing Peaches and back to health. And I guess, a neighbor of my father-in-law's, which I've been buying hay off of and, dealing with, a long time ago he told me, he goes, you can't have livestock without dead stock. And I know that's true. We've lost some animals since we lived here. We lost Boyd, the little black goat. He got goat polio. 2 weeks before this guy was born, I had to go get kiddo out of school. She thought Peaches was having her baby. I said, hey, if I come to get you from school, I don't want you to miss this. This might be a once-in-a-lifetime thing for you, to be there while your baby is being born. And so she was all excited. She gets in the truck, and she saw the look on my face, and she goes, what's wrong? I go, your favorite goat is sick, and the vet said the only option is to put him down. So just dealing with that. Farm life is not easy. Having livestock is not easy. But I think it's a very strong character builder, especially for kids, adults. It doesn't matter. You have farm life. When you're on a high, you're on a high. Every morning, I love coming out and taking care of my animals. It's just something that I was raised into. I was born into a horse family, had hogs and stuff. I just love taking care of the animals. But you can't have good times without bad times. So, you're going to lose animals, and it sucks. Peaches hit really hard. My mom had gotten out of horses for, 20 years, except for I had one during that time. We got kiddo these minis, I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago. So then my mom got excited, again. She had been a 4-H advisor for, I believe, like over 30 years. And my mom used to show national circuit when she was younger. I used to show national circuit with paints and stuff. And so it was like really something everyone was so excited for. And, we thought we were going to lose him, and we came to terms with that. And then, Peaches is not doing good, and you're worrying about her, and then she's doing great. And then the next morning you find her dead and not sure if this guy's going to make it or not. I don't think we're 100% out of the woods yet. Like I said, a couple days he'll be 3 weeks old. But if you've noticed, he's a big boy. All 3 veterinarians that have looked at him, 2 separate veterinary offices, but they work closely together. The first word out of each one's mouth when they saw him is, "Oh my gosh, he's a big boy." These minis are, I think one's like 35, 36 inches. The day he was born, with his legs bent down, so he wasn't at his full height, he was 40 inches. His mom was only 56. So not sure what happened there, but it's been a tough time around here lately. And oddly enough, I think the person that's doing the best is Kiddo. She understands that, things just happen. And, she loved Peaches as much as anybody. And I think the things that Peaches did that annoyed the absolute crap out of me, she would bang her gate even if she had food. If you were in the barn, she was just one of those horses, and she just did a lot of things to annoy me. And now he's doing the same things. Excuse me. And when he does them, I smile now. So it's been hard for everybody involved. We actually went this weekend and looked at a horse for my mom. Mom was just real sad, and obviously, I think the best thing for her is just, you got to get something else. It's no disrespect to Peaches, but you got to keep moving forward. You got to have a reason to keep coming to the barn. This barn is my happy place. It's Kiddo's happy place. It's my mom's happy place. Today, I think it's a Sunday. I think 12, 18 people showed up today. Just, hey, can we take a peek at the foal? And, I think that was good for everybody involved. So I'm honestly surprised he's not passed out yet. But yeah, he's going to be a something. Not sure his colors yet. He's got 4 white hooves, 4 white stocking feet. Kind of cool pattern, jagged. His dad was a Grula, which is kind of a mouse gray color, kind of like this Carhartt. So I don't know if he's going to be in the mouse gray. He's got kind of a little bit of zebra stripe looking thing going on. He's goofy as hell, but I guess he's our boy. 18 days old. I'm not going to say he's 100% halter trained, but he's pretty good. He walks with Kiddo like nothing. He's desensitized. We've been working on him with that since day one. Today, Kiddo actually had a plastic bag hooked over his ears with him out walking through water that he's never seen, and he couldn't care less. So I think he's going to be good, boy. I think he's going to turn out, like I said, we're not out of the woods yet, but I feel that we're doing a lot better than what we were. So I know that probably wasn't a very exciting video. That video was a little harder for me to talk about than I thought it was going to be. But man, you care about these animals so much. Even our beef cattle that we raise and give the best life we can to supply our family with meat. You respect those animals, you give them the best life you can. Yesterday, Kiddo and I just laid in our cattle manger, the hay manger, for a while, and just played with the cows. We love and respect every single one of these animals. And even though we know their destiny the day that they're brought to this farm, still doesn't mean you're be mean to them, mistreat them, or let them live in crappy conditions. So I think we go a little above and beyond on everything that we have here. But man, it doesn't make it any easier. So I hope that answers some questions. I appreciate the emails. I wasn't blowing you guys off. It was just waiting for the right time to do this video. So thank you for all our support. For you guys have been supporting us from the start. 3 years ago, this week is when we bought this property, and there was no barn here. It was all woods. We cleared all this land. We built this barn. We put these pastures up. it's been a chore. And I apologize for doing this video so late. I know the lighting in here is kind of messing with the camera. I apologize. But for some reason, I just walked out in the barn tonight and decided that now was the time to do this video. So thank you guys for all the support. We really do appreciate it. And we'll keep on tabs a little better on what's going on with this guy, these two guys. And Mom found a nice older gelding that he just needed a good home. He was at a nice place. He just wasn't getting utilized a whole lot. And someone said he hit the golden ticket by moving out here. So he will be loved on. We got to get him a chiropractor. We got to get a equine dentist out here for him. We got to get him switched on a little bit better food. But you know what? You spend money on ourselves, we got to spend money on these animals to make sure they're happy and healthy also. So, all right, guys. Sorry this video went way longer than I anticipated, but there was a lot to go over. There's been 3 weeks of stuff to go over in 25 minutes. So take care, everybody. I appreciate everything from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. Remember, guys, make smart decisions, and most importantly, God bless. We'll catch you on the next one. I think this is the longest you've ever stayed awake after a bottle. What's going on? Huh? I love this guy, but those ear tips just drive me nuts. Those pointy ear tips. You're a goofy one, aren't you? All right, I'll see you in a couple hours for a bottle. Oh yeah, look at them teethers. Those teethers just grew on this week. Yeah, a lot of people didn't know this. They're not born with teeth, but they get them. They started growing about day 8, I think. Can't get you a good picture here, but hey, you don't want to show you. There you go. You don't want to show YouTube your teeth. There we go. We got the chompers. All right, I'm done messing with you. Good night. See you in a couple hours, buddy.